This bill actually matches up in one respect very well with the governor's proposal, and that is that if you look at apples to apples, because obviously the other body has different finance divisions than we have, the governor budgets not by our finance divisions, obviously, but if you take the governor's proposed budget and match it up to our proposed budget relative to the 8 finance divisions, it matches up at a same dollar amount of a cut of $208 million. Additionally, we've done something a little bit different. We've included tax provisions in this bill, which are the tax spending provisions, or in this case, obviously, the tax cutting provisions. These are not provisions that deal with either raising taxes. It doesn't deal with many of the other issues within the purview of the tax committee, but deals with $105 million of proposed cuts from the tax committee. So if you take a look at the totality of what's in front of us, the total being $313 million, that bill represents approximately a third of what we will have to cut of the 993, absent any federal money.
This is an incomplete budget. It's not a budget. Minnesotans, as they are trying to recover from this recession, are sitting down, their businesses, their families, and they're dealing with the whole budget. They're looking at every area at the same time. What are we taking in? How much are we spending? And the other danger that this partial budget sets us up for, members, is that last week of session, by not doing K-12, by not having a sense of what we're doing on K-12, by not doing health and human services, 70% of the budget, we are locking those issues into the last days, hours, and even minutes of session.
This amendment, I think, provides an opportunity for all of us to take a look at the governor's bill, decide whether or not it's the kind of bill we want to support. I think the governor has presented to us a reasonable approach for going forward with respect to the budget deficit that we are looking at, and it gives an opportunity, I think, to solve that deficit in a way that does not raise taxes, and in a way that, for the most part, I think most Minnesotans can live with. And at this point in time in Minnesota's history, and given the difficulties that Minnesota citizens are facing, the idea of solving this budget without raising taxes, albeit certainly there are cuts, but these are cuts that are probably in the end going to have to be made. I think the governor did a good job of defining those cuts, and they're provided now for our indulgence, and I would urge support for this amendment.
I don't know if we're, at least intellectually, that far off, because you agree, your side of the aisle agrees with some cuts, we agree with some cuts, we just disagree with what some of them should be. There's another thing, however, that I think was important, that was brought to light that was important from your amendment, is that I think your side of the aisle and the governor agrees with some tax increases as well. When you cut $1.2 billion in tax credits through 2013, you are increasing taxes. More people are going to be paying taxes with these credits being removed.
There being 43 ayes and 23 nays, the motion prevails, and House File 1671 is passed. It passes, and its title is agreed to.